Bonjour, I'm Kay from Vacay in One Day, and I'm here at Disneyland Paris. I'll be going to both parks in one day, Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney Studios, and I'm starting here at Walt Disney Studios. And I'm excited to do unique attractions like Crush's Coaster, the re-theme of Rock and Roller Coaster to Avengers, and of course, I heard there's even a dragon underneath the castle over at Disneyland. Let's go! To get to Disneyland from the city, we took the RER A train. Disney is the last stop on the line, and you can follow the signs easily because they're all marked either with the words Parks Disneyland and or the Mickey symbol. Once you arrive, you're in the Disney Village area, which is their version of a Disney Springs. You go through the same security area for both parks and then split off once inside. Walt Disney Studios opened at 9:30 for non-resort guests like us and 8:30 for resort guests. We got there at 9 and there was already a long line. The non-resort guest line was on the left-hand side, but it wasn't clear because there was no markings on which line went for which group. My first thoughts upon entering the park is that it's very small and there's a lot of construction going on, which makes it feel even more small and congested. This park has some top-notch rides, but the theming and magic is somewhat lacking in this park, and I would consider this a half-day park. While we're moving and grooving our way over to our first ride, I'm going to book a Premier Access, which is the paid FastPass service here in Paris for Crush's Coaster. By the time we got in here today, the resort guests have been here for an hour already, and Crush's Coaster has jumped to a 75-minute wait. For today, purchasing the Premier Access for this ride was 18 euros per person, and we were given the time of 10:15 to 11:15. First up, starting off strong with one of the best, and it's Tower of Terror. This version features a lot of similarities to the one in Hollywood Studios, like the queue and the hotel itself have a very similar look and feel. The main difference here is that the storyline focuses on the little girl in the family only, and she is shown throughout the ride. When I tell you this little girl is terrifying, that is an understatement. I don't even speak French, and I know that I don't want to go anywhere near her. The posted wait was 35 minutes, and we waited 37, so pretty close to what was estimated. And overall, this is a fantastic ride and different enough from the one in the US to make this absolutely a must-do when you come here. The minimum height requirement is 1.02 meters, which is around 40 inches. While we wait for our Premier Access to begin, we're going to pop over to Cars Rally Ride and then fill our stomachs with a Paris-specific snack. This ride was very fun and great for families as there's no height requirement. It's pretty similar, but not exactly the same as Mater's Junkyard Jamboree in Disneyland and Alien Swirling Saucers in Disney World. This one spins you a lot more than those. We waited 25 minutes compared to the posted 20 minutes, so this is now the second ride where we've waited more than what was expected. Picked up this Mickey beignet from a cart near Crush's Coaster. Overall, it's cute and yummy, and it has a good amount of Nutella in the middle, and unsurprisingly, it's better than the non-chocolate Mickey beignet, so make sure you get that one. Time for Crush's Coaster. We scanned our QR code in the scanner, and we are in. Waited 7 minutes for Premier Access Lane, and we were on the ride. This is the second must-do attraction in this park and by far the most popular ride in the park. It has a height requirement of 1.07 meters or around 42 inches, and each turtle shell ride vehicle fits 4 people, 2 facing forward and 2 facing backwards. You start the ride in the dark as a Nemo dark ride where you see all the favorite characters, and then it turns into an indoor dark roller coaster where the vehicle spins around as it goes around the track. It's very unique and fun, but be careful. It can make you nauseous if you're sensitive to any sort of spinning. On to Avengers Campus, and I'm pumped for this next ride. We are skipping Spider-Man Web Adventure because it's an exact clone of the ride at California Adventure, and we only have one day. So let's continue on towards the ride that we are riding, and that's Avengers Assemble Flight Force. This used to be Rock and Roller Coaster and has been completely rethemed to Marvel. It has a 1.2 meter or about 47 inch height requirement, and this ride is the third and last ride here that I would consider a must-do in this park. It features the same beloved launch as the old ride, and now has more of a hyperspace mountain feel to it with the inversions, it being based in space, and totally in the dark. We waited only 25 minutes instead of the posted 35 minutes. Heading into the last land in Walt Disney Studios Park for the last ride we're doing before moving to Disneyland. Worlds of Pixar has a few rides here themed to Toy Story, Cars, and Ratatouille. Cars Road Trip is sadly closed due to the weather, so we won't be doing that, but it is a retheme of the Studio Tram Tour, which I've done before. It still has the immersive section where you watch a truck catch on fire and water sprays everywhere. I'm also skipping Remy's Ratatouille Adventure because, well, there's an exact clone of it at Epcot. And lastly, I'm also skipping some of the family-friendly attractions like Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin, which is a family spinning ride, and Toy Soldiers Parachute Drop, which is similar to Jumping Jellyfish in California Adventure. So, by process of elimination, I'm doing the thrilling RC Racer. RC Racer is a flat ride that takes you forward and backwards up a half pipe. It creates like a giant swing feeling as you plummet toward the ground from 25 meters. This ride also offers a single rider and has a height requirement of 1.2 meters or around 47 inches. The estimated wait was 30 minutes, and I waited 35 minutes. It has a low capacity, so the line moves slowly. I think the ride is fun, but probably not worth the wait, and be careful as this one can definitely make you nauseous. We are sadly saying goodbye to Walt Disney Studio Park, but we're heading over to the magical Disneyland. It's nice that the parks are only a few minutes walking distance between each other. It's very similar to California in that regard. Bonjour. Grabbing lunch at Casa de Coco in Frontierland, which is a Mexican-inspired restaurant and serves burritos. I highly recommend using mobile ordering on the app as the line was very long during lunchtime, as expected. Both the chicken and the vegan burritos were really good in my opinion, and since they are handheld, we could easily eat them on the go. Sadly, one of my favorite attractions in this park, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, is closed for refurbishment, so we won't be going on that, but I highly recommend it if you come. It's unique in that you start the ride on the mainland here, but majority of the ride is spent on the island in the middle, so you go underneath water. First ride here is an absolute must-do in my opinion, and that's Phantom Manor. This ride has no height requirement and it's only a 5-minute wait, so let's go.
And now, curious souls, come.
Perhaps you sense describing metaphors. Hélas, les choses ne sont pas toujours ce qu'elles paraissent. Tous les fautes n'ont pas de fin.
It appears everyone is doomed at Phantom Manor. Even you?
La belle Beyoncé.
Phantom Manor is such a great ride. I absolutely love it. It's very similar to Haunted Mansion in the US, but the storyline is focused more on the bride that you see in that one attic scene in Haunted Mansion. The graveyard section is the biggest difference in this version, and it's based on the Wild West. It's a lot creepier and less lighthearted. There are more skeletons, and that laughing character is terrifying. Little hint for you to beat some of the crowds is in the first room with the portrait, the door will open on the left, and in the stretching room, the door will open on your right. So stand closest to those to be the first one on the ride of your group. Now, we're walking over to Adventureland, and this rain really has an effect on the crowds in this park. It feels so empty, and the wait times also reflect that. We've arrived to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril. This is an outdoor coaster with one inversion and has a height requirement of 1.4 meters or around 55 inches. This ride does offer single rider, and the estimated wait is 5 minutes for that, so let's see how long we actually wait. Waited 10 minutes for single rider, which is better than the general queue of 20, but longer than expected. And it can be hard to estimate single rider because it's very dependent on the party size of the guests and the standard queue. Now this ride is fun, but it's also very jerky and a bit painful. I would not consider it a must-do, but it is somewhat unique as they offer only a similar version in Tokyo and nothing like this in the US. Adventureland is actually my favorite of all the lands here because of how immersive it is. It has fun swinging bridges, pathways, and caves that are definitely worth spending time and exploring. And now for another must-do for me, Pirates of the Caribbean. This ride is very similar to both Disney World and Disneyland, but it has a few distinct features that makes it worth doing. One of the biggest differences is that the scene in the town with the pirates comes first in the ride, and the cave sections come last. We waited 13 minutes, and it was a 10-minute posted wait. And this ride has a high capacity, so the line moves very quickly, and this ride doesn't have a height requirement, so make sure to check it out when you come. Making our way over to Fantasyland to hit up a few beloved and unique attractions, and up first is It's a Small World. This ride is one I prioritize in every park. Yes, it's the same song played. Yes, it has the majority of the same sets and countries, but there are a few small differences, and the biggest one here is that, well, because we're in France, there's a cute United States section at the end that I have yet to find anywhere else. This one feels closer to Disney World than other parks because they have not updated it to include famous Disney characters in each country. This ride has no height requirements and was exactly 5 minutes like the posted wait said. If you're a fan of Alice in Wonderland, then this next attraction is for you. It's a walk-through maze, which is great because there's hardly ever a wait to experience it. It's decently long as you twist and turn your way through the maze. You can spot some fun characters along the way as well, and once you get to the end, you're rewarded with a tower that leads to a great view of Fantasyland, so be sure to experience this. Moving on to an attraction that was removed from Disney World and changed in Disneyland, and that's Blanche-Neige et les Sept Neiges. And I'm so sorry for my pronunciation. But that stands for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is basically Snow White's scary adventures, and even though there's a similar updated version in Disneyland, something about the creepiness and nostalgia for the original will always get me to ride it when I'm here. The ride puts you in the story as Snow White herself as you journey into the woods and see the dwarfs, the evil queen, and of course the happy ending with the prince. While there's no height requirement, I would caution this ride for very small children as it's pretty dark and a bit scary, hence the name. Posted wait was 15 minutes and we waited 17, so not too bad. The next thing on the list today is something I do recommend doing if you come here, and that's walking through the castle to see the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough, and down below the castle to see the dragon. The walkthrough is short and sweet and has beautiful stained glass windows of the story of Sleeping Beauty and has a balcony with great views of Fantasyland. But the highlight is definitely the dragon, so let's go find it. Walking out of the castle towards Main Street and then veering to the right, here's the path with the sign that says Dragon. The dragon changes from being awake and active like when I walked in to when it's sleeping. And it's fun to hang out here for a moment and see both versions. And one of the most unique things in this park for sure. It's not super scary for kids, but there is an upper deck in the cave that's further away from the dragon if they do get scared. Something you can do here that's unique to Paris and so magical is there's a small cart out front of the Gibson Girl ice cream parlor on Main Street that sells champagne in a souvenir glass. Grabbing one now to enjoy as we watch the 5:30 p.m. parade. Even though it's raining during the parade, they slightly modify it with umbrellas and other things to keep it running. I'm standing on the right-hand side of the castle near the entrance of Discoveryland because that's where we're headed to next. And this parade is called Disney Stars on Parade, and it starts over by Small World and makes its way to Main Street every day at 5:30 p.m.
Comme cet endroit est fabuleux! J'adore! Quel festival de couleurs!
C'est magique! Salutations! Je suis Buzz l'éclair et je viens vous faire. J'ai un poisson pourri! Maudit sois-tu, Pitocco! Et ta fréquence!
Quelle allure! Trop fort!
That parade was awesome. The dragon was my favorite part, and I love watching Prince Philip battle it out. Okay, Discoveryland. This is essentially Tomorrowland, and it features Star Tours, which we aren't doing because it's the same as the one in Hollywood Studios, and spoiler alert, a ride that I don't really enjoy doing all that much. But we are doing 3 other attractions here, and the first is Hyperspace Mountain. Single rider says 10 minutes, and we're gonna jump in line. This version of Space Mountain is one of the best, starting from the steampunkish vibe on the outside to the Star Wars overlay with an audio track, but best of all, the actual ride. It features an incline launch, 3 inversions, and has a height requirement of 1.2 meters or 47 inches. Wait time for single rider was 12 minutes and we're ready to ride. Upon exiting Space Mountain, we are greeted with another walkthrough attraction of the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. No way to go down to see the Nautilus, so let's do it. If you're a fan of the movie or just want to get out of the rain for a few minutes, this is perfect for you. Otherwise, I'd consider it a one and done attraction. And on to Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast is not necessarily unique to other versions, as I would say this is almost identical to Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters in Disneyland, but hey, who doesn't love a good shooter-style ride for some healthy competition? We waited 23 minutes versus the posted 15 minutes, but enough talking, let's go take down Emperor Zurg.
Space Rangers, your space cruisers will now be restarted.
Well, that wasn't close. Today we've had such a magical day. There are definitely pros and cons with having it rain the entire day. Apart from Walt Disney Studios in the morning, we had really great luck with wait times as the rain stopped a lot of people from coming, and Disneyland Park definitely felt more empty than normal. We didn't need to purchase the Disney Premier Access Ultimate, which was around 160 euros per person today because of the low waits. We were able to ride everything we wanted to that was open. But that leads me to the cons of going to Disneyland Paris in the rain, and that's that not all the rides are open, and unfortunately the nighttime shows are canceled as well. That one's a real bummer since we only have one day here, but totally understand. There are some great videos out there of the shows and the drones, so make sure to check those out if you are interested in seeing it when you're here. I've been Kate from Vacay in One Day. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye!